heck?
All right, we're good. All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled monthly planning commission meeting. I'm Paul Schwer, the chairman, and I'm calling this meeting to order. We do have a quorum today with a new member, Mr. Klein, and we have Mr. Sellers is here now, and Mr. Best is absent today. So we got 6 and with one absent. So we do have a quorum. And at this time, I would like everyone to rise, and I would like Ms. Cernovia McGee to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Ms. McGee. Item number 4, read and approve the minutes from the July 21st meeting. I entertain a motion for the minutes as written.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Mr. Sellers. Second.
A second.
From Ms. McGee. Any discussion on the minutes as written? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Abstained. We got one abstained. Okay, so the motion are passed as written, 5-0, and 1 abstained. Mr. Rice. All right. General public comments for items not on the agenda. At this time, I would like to invite anybody from the general public to address the commission for anything within the purview of the commission that is not on tonight's agenda. Seeing none, I will close item number 5 and move on to reports from commissioners and staff. Mr. Luthi.
Yeah. I would just like to ask the commissioners by the next meeting, in our efforts to go paperless, if you could please bring your assigned iPad devices. I will collect those at the September meeting. Our IT department has to do some work on those and get them up to date, and those will be redistributed to you by the October meeting. And at that point, they should be set up with a city-managed email address for you to receive communications from the city regarding planning commission items. And those will be there for you to use during your meetings to view the agenda. A lot of these agendas we've been having have been many pages, and it's just, at this point, it seems a little reductive to sit there and print out 130-page agendas when we have already acquired devices that would allow us to not have to print those out. So if you could just have those brought with you by the September, or on the September meeting, I will collect them from you at the end of that meeting, and you will get them back at the October meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Luthi. Anything from the commission? All right. Approval of the agenda. We have the agenda in front of us for the Planning Commission. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Rice.
Second.
Second from Mr. Seaborn. All right. All in favor of the approval of the agenda as written? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. The motion passes 6-0. All right, there is no old business. Moving on to new business. Subdivision plats. These are public hearings. Levi Spring John Drive, subdivision final plat. Proposed final plat to create 4 new lots of record within the UGB located at 683 John Drive. The applicant is Nicholas Northcutt. I'd like to invite the applicant or representative to come forth and speak on this.
I'm Mandy Bobo with Northcutt and Associates Land Surveying. Mr. Thomas Whitley is the owner. He's just trying to create 4 residential lots on Jean Drive, just outside the Tullahoma city limits.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bobo. With that, this is a public hearing, so anyone who would like to speak on this is welcome to. Open the public hearing. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And we'll move to the staff report. Mr. Luthi.
Yeah. This is a minor subdivision creating 4 new lots of record. This is located out in our UGB. So in review of this one, we just check for compliance with our zoning ordinance and then pass it on to you for your approval. So, Public Works doesn't go out and look at any of the drainage, or we don't require any review of any of the engineering on the site. And it doesn't go to our utility providers because it's outside of our city limits. We just review it for its compatibility with our zoning regulations and then pass that on to you. So this is before you today for your review.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luthi. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Mr. Sellers,
Second.
second from Mr. Rice. All right, any discussion on the Levi Springs John Drive minor subdivision final plat? All right, seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? Motion passes 6-0. All right, moving on to site plans. JSP Building Expansion Site Plan. A site plan to expand the JSP International Building located on Parham Drive to allow increased manufacturing capacity. The applicant is JSP International LLC. I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward at this time.
I'm Kenny Sadler. I'm the design engineer for JSP on this one. And their desire is to add a 51,000 square foot expansion there behind their existing building. And I'm not aware of any punch list items at this time, but I'm available to answer any questions you might have on the project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sadler. All right, it's a public hearing. I'd like to invite anyone from the public to speak at this time. Seeing none, Mr. Luthi, staff report.
Yep. This project has come in, went through a round of review with our DAC and our consultants. All the comments that we received on this one have been addressed. The only comments that we have remaining are the typical ones from our city engineer requesting the long-term maintenance plan and stormwater detention maintenance agreement. We'll have to get those physical hard copies turned into Nina, and at that point they can move forward. And then TUA would like to note that because of the capacity of this building and what they're going to be doing, they will require, or they may require, industrial pretreatment. And they have reached out to JSP to get in touch with them on what they will be doing in that facility, and if that pretreatment will be required. TUA is fine with that being a condition of approval, but they would like to discuss it with them prior to the building being constructed.
Timeline-wise, when do we expect that?
The building being constructed?
No. When TUA approval.
TUA approves it. They just need them to reach out to decide whether or not they need the pretreatment.
Okay.
It would be prior to the TUA permitting them to tie into their sewer service.
Okay. So there is a check in the way. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anything else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. All right. Moving on, I will entertain a motion for the whatever this thing's called, the JSP International Expansion Site Plan.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Rice.
Second.
Second from Ms. McGee. Any discussion on this? All right. Mr. Luthi, sorry, I should have probably brought that up at this time, but yeah, I was kind of the timeline on make sure that there's another check in the way that that actually gets done is good. With that, I got nothing else. Thank you. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to, I'll call a vote. All in favor of the JSP building expansion site plan? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstained. All right. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. All right. Let me move on here. Item number C, rezone requests. 300 South Jackson rezone request. Request from the Planning Commission to recommendation regarding the rezoning of property located at 300 South Jackson from R3 to C3. The applicant is Southgate Properties. And this is the public hearing. I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward at this time to speak on this if they're available.
I'm just getting it rezoned to C3 for our future home of access title will be located there. So,
Okay. Can you state your name, please?
yeah, it's Jared Hood. I'm the owner of South Ridge Properties.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. If we have any more questions, we'll reach out. All right. With that, this is a public hearing. I'd like to invite anyone from the public to speak on this rezoning request at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move to the staff report from Mr. Luthi.
Yep. As you may know, 300 South Jackson Street is the Harton House. Access title and escrow would like to purchase a Harton House. I believe they might already have, or those are going to be renting. I'm not 100% sure of that. It's not our purview. But they are having the Harton House will be renovated and updated to modern standards, and it will become their new office space for a new location here in the city of Tullahoma. So we are going to have them rezone that property so that it can be used commercially. It'll be rezoned to C3. That is a zone that allows commercial as well as residential. But this will allow them to finish their renovations, get the house up to the point where they're ready to use it for their offices, and will allow them to move in there and have that be their new location.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Luthi. All right. Entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
All right. The motion is to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Seaborn. Second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Klein. Welcome, Mr. Klein. We should have recognized you in the staff report. I am very sorry, but we have a new UGB representative. All right. All right. With that, any discussion on the rezone request?
Now, Sam, what about all the surrounding properties? We got a mixture there. We got R3, R2, C1. What is our future plan to try to, for this area? We think that that's all going to eventually try to maybe go to C2? Is that what we think?
With that part of town, the city, and with other areas of the city, it really would benefit the most from C3.
C3, yeah.
Because that allows, if it's, and this is kind of the first major example, but we've seen these often are homes that are renovated for office use. And it's still the house, but it's been converted inside to function as an office. For zones like this, if we allow them to go to C3, it allows that property to be more flexible, where if, right now it makes more sense financially for it to be rented out and leased as office space, it can be, and then later on down the line, if it wanted to return to being a residence, it can do that. And then allows it to go the other way, where you can have residential structures used residentially, but they can also be converted to offices and rented out without requiring the applicant to come in and go through the rezoning process again. It opens up that flexibility and can allow these properties to have more financial momentum, where it has more ability to do different things with the property, and it makes it more likely that they'll be developed.
I'm not concerned so much about this property. I'm wondering, are we going to try to work towards, that South Jackson corridor is an important part, trying to eventually look at, trying to see if we can talk to other people about making it C3 all the way along there. Does that make sense?
It might. We'll have to.
I mean, it seems like that's something, because we're getting to really be checkered here with our zoning. It doesn't look like anything that would be normal. So that's part of our discussion, for the future land uses, to try to look at what makes more sense to do that. I don't have an objection to that, but I notice it's going to be a mixture of three or four different types there. So one other question, is that house on the historical registry or anything like that? No? Okay. It's been around a long time, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing that brought up for me was, normally we get the future land use map with this as well. We don't have that today.
Only the current map.
Only the current
Yeah.
zoning, not the overlay.
Yeah, I think that's something we had been getting, and it was nice to have what
I believe.
we're laying out. Of course, we need to work on it, but
I believe that's kind of more of a function probably of the fact that we don't have a solid comprehensive plan at the moment, and we're trying to work on developing that. So that
Well,
land use
there's an
map
existing land use map, right?
Yes.
Future.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that land use map is kind of
We need to work
in
on it,
development.
but it is good to see it,
With that,
especially in areas like this.
C3 is in my opinion the appropriate zoning for that whole area. So I'd like to see the land use map reflect that in the future. But yeah.
Thank you.
And the other thing that was missing, just on your comment, was it's typically we get the table Z3 or something like with that actually lists what the uses are in between the two, so you can kind of compare and see what C3 allows that doesn't in the existing zoning and stuff like that. So I don't know. We can look that up on our own. So I'm not so sure that's too important. Keep the packet shorter.
To make things possibly faster.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, any other discussion? All right. With that, I will call a vote. All in favor to send a favorable recommendation based on staff comments to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone this property from R3 to C3. Aye. Aye. Opposed? And abstained? All right. That motion passes 6-0. Send a favorable recommendation. All right. Item number 9, moving on to section D, text amendments. Sign ordinance amendment. A request for the Planning Commission recommendation regarding an amendment of the sign ordinance. I'll turn this over to Mr. Luthi for the staff report on the go, because this is from the city. So, Mr. Luthi, you recognized to speak on this?
This is an effort to clean up our sign ordinance and to make some modifications and changes that we've needed for quite some time. Briefly to go over what changes were made. No changes were made to square footage of signs, permitted locations or permitted types of signs, or what zones, what types of signs we have in the city, save for one specific temporary sign. These are mainly clerical changes, cleaning up some of the issues in the ordinance. I'll go over those briefly. Signs of all types, except those for special events as approved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, are now going to be prohibited in the right-of-way. Part of the issue that we've had is that we allowed certain signs to be in the right-of-way while prohibiting other signs in the right-of-way. However, the only way to differentiate between signs that were and were not permitted in the right-of-way was by judging them on the character or the content of the sign. We can't legally do that. Freedom of speech protects your ability to say what you want on the sign. Tullahoma Police Department does have vulgarity laws on signs, but those are pretty limited in what they can do. With that being said, if we allow one type of sign in the right-of-way, it opens that door up to all signs can be now placed in our right-of-way, because the only way to differentiate between a permitted and a not permitted sign is judging it based on the actual statement or the content on the sign, which we're not allowed to do. Feather signs and other nuisance temporary signs have been prohibited in the city of Tullahoma. Those waving temporary signs you see on the side of buildings or out front, the long curved ones that wave in the wind. Those ones have been an issue. We've gotten a lot of complaints about those. So prohibiting those would help clean up the appearance and not have such a nuisance. We had in our ordinance signs that would wave in the wind and move like that were actually prohibited. However, the way they were prohibited was not as effective, as the sign actually had to be moving. So if the sign was just fixed in place, then they would not be under the animated sign prohibition, and it would get around that, which allowed a lot of those feather signs to continue to exist. The sign permit fees have been updated and simplified. Our original system that we've been running under charged a base fee plus a square footage fee, and that got kind of difficult to calculate the actual fee and for our customers to know what they were going to be paying when they came in to get their permit, based on how the square footage would have been drawn around the sign, whether or not it would include just a box around the letters, or if it would be drawn specifically around each letter individually. So that has been updated to be a set fee so that our applicants know exactly how much it's going to cost on a per sign basis. There have been multiple areas of conflict and scrivener's errors that have been corrected. The code would reference a segment in the code using an incorrect chapter and title number, or article and section number, excuse me. And so those have been cleaned up to make sure that when it references itself, it's pointing to the right section. Sections mentioning specific staff members have been updated to accurately reflect their titles and duties. It was referring to the property maintenance inspector, which is Tony Mercado. Tony's position has been changed to codes compliance officer. So I made sure to update all mentions of the property maintenance inspector to change that to codes compliance officer, so that it's referring to the correct staff member when it discusses them. And I have attached a copy of the sign ordinance for your review in this document, if you'd like to look at it. But most of the changes, if not all of the changes that I made, were just cleanup changes. There wasn't really anything major except for prohibition of signs in the right-of-way so that we can enforce that. And then the prohibition of feather signs, specifically naming those.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Luthi. All right. This is a public hearing, so I'd like to invite anyone to speak on this at this time. If you're
Yeah, I'm Joe Orr. I live at 106 Kensington Lane, Tullahoma. I'm a realtor and auctioneer. I've lived in Tullahoma for 50 years and have had in the real estate business and auction business for 50 years. We've, every 5 to 10 years, we go through a sign ordinance change. And I usually show up for that. The main reason we feel like our signage is very important as far as our marketing goes. And if I'm reading this correctly, then it would prohibit auction signs from being in the right-of-way. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I oppose that. So I think that's a restraint on our trade. We've been able to do it ever since I've been here. And it's something we've addressed. We've limited the amount of signs. We've limited the signage size. We've limited how long we would have them up. They're up for 2 weeks and for sale, and then 3 days after the sale with a sold sign. And I will say this, the auctioneers are very aware of where you should and shouldn't put signs. There's just a very few ideal corners, primarily the corner on South Jackson and Carroll Street is our favorite corner. And I think we're do a good job of getting them down, keeping them pretty simple. You know, they're not to be larger than a 4x4, which is in the code. So I think it would be a encumbrance on the auction business to take that away from us. I think you mentioned something about which ones were legal and not legal. It's pretty easy to figure out.
Thank you, Mr. Orr. Your time's expired.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was on timer, so I would have talked faster.
All right. Anyone else wishing to speak on the sign ordinance at this time? All right. With that, I will close the public hearing. And we already had a staff report, unless there's anything else that needs to be said. I don't think so. And entertain a motion.
Are we approving this, or this just?
I have comments.
Just for us. I have comments too, so.
The motion is.
Are we approving this? I thought we were going to review it.
We are not approving it, I don't believe. I don't think we can approve any statutes, but let me look in here. We're going to recommend a sign ordinance to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So if we want to discuss this, if we want to do anything, make changes, edits, or anything like that, we need a motion on the table to do so, but ultimately we are not approving this. This is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to approve.
Yep.
So we need a motion to discuss?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
All right, motion from Ms. McGee.
Second.
Second from Ms. Sellers. Discussion is opened. Ms. McGee, it's your motion. You may go first.
I was just,
Okay.
the mayor had some comments. We usually are on the same.
We'll see.
All right, Mr. Sellers.
Yeah, so I guess it was, when I read this, I was like, it looks like all signs are prohibited in the right of way. I think that's what you're saying, and I'm concerned about what Joe's saying too. But we talk about all signs are prohibited, it seems like. I guess I should note it's in the right of way, because then I go down later and we talk about, getting sign fees and so forth. So it seemed to me a little bit, maybe the wording was like a little bit weird, but I wanted to go down to, let's see, down just a couple comments here in section 702. There is a missing number 9 there's 1 through 12, but there's missing number 9, so I'm not sure what happened there. Something got off, but I didn't know if we were missing something important there as far as on the ones that were exempt from permit fees. Then also in section C, I believe it was, or no, I'm sorry, it's D. My question was, are there fees for temporary signs if they're not exempt? So I guess that was another thing. We talk about permit fees for signs, but I just wanted to make sure it doesn't seem like it's clear that if we have a temporary sign that's allowed, is there a permit fee for a temporary sign? There are?
Yes.
And the temporary signs, where was that section at? The temporary signs, the definition for temporary signs, was there a section for that?
There's a definition in 701.
Which one? 704? Yeah. Signs. So it talked about like a real estate sign is temporary, right? And I go down to non-permanent temporary signs. Real estate signs are listed there.
Where's that at? What page?
Well, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm following that everything's following through correctly, because somewhere it didn't say that there was a fee for temporary signs, or maybe that's what it was. Temporary signs were listed under the exempt, and I was like, this was getting a little bit, following the logic through it, it was getting a little bit confusing to me. So I don't know. I was going to have to reread it again, but when I looked at it yesterday, I was like, something didn't seem like it was being logically correct all the way through as far as temporary signs. Because I had a permit fees. Okay.
702B.
Huh?
702B is
702B.
exempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see temporary signs listed there.
I think that was maybe that was what I was missing. Also, that was, I thought maybe, I don't know. Maybe they aren't. So they're not supposed to be exempt. Temporary signs are not supposed
Correct.
to be exempt. Okay. All right. When I read it, it wasn't clear that that was the case. So that was my question. I think the last, I was curious about the feather signs. Is that like the ones that have the blow up that's got the area that the guy
That would
waves
include
and
those.
goes up and down? Is that a feather sign?
So those signs are included under our animated signs. Those are already prohibited.
Okay.
The feather signs are they have the curved piece of metal, the blade sign. They're tall. They'll have, smoke or vape or something. They'll be up by the road
Okay.
and wave. Those are the feather signs.
Okay. Those are just comments I saw about reading. I guess I'm also concerned about our real estate. I mean, that's an important part of our city that, people need to know when houses are sale or there's auctions or whatever. And the reasoning for eliminating all signs from right of way is so that we don't have to differentiate. Is that?
So the reason for eliminating signs in the right-of-way is that if we permit one sign in the right-of-way, you have to permit all signs in the right-of-way. Because it is illegal to differentiate between signs based on the content on their face or the wording, Just like I cannot tell you, your business can't have a sign because it says Sellers on it, which is your last name, and I don't like that, so no signs can have this text on it. We're not able to regulate that due to free speech. Because of that, if we allow an auction sign, we have to allow all other signs, because the only way that we can differentiate between an auction sign and another sign is by the content of its face, which we're not able to regulate. So because of that, that's why you see the litany of temporary signs stuck in the right-of-way that we can't remove, because those signs, we can't judge them on their content on the face. So if we permit the auction signs, that puts us back to where we currently are, where we can't remove the signs from the right-of-way. We're unable to enforce that, and we have to just let anybody put any sign they want in the right-of-way, and there's not much we can do.
So I think I have several comments about that. I want to start from square one a little bit. So what defines the state right-of-way on 41A and 55 going through town?
Wherever the right-of-way line is, I'm not sure.
But if we, like in our zoning, when we set an offset distance, the state doesn't, I'm asking, the state doesn't regulate the right-of-way size itself, correct?
State routes have the right-of-way set by TDOT standards.
Okay, so right down the middle of town through Jackson Street, the right-of-way is defined by the state standard?
It'd be whatever TDOT has for that road. Correct.
Do we know how big that is?
Pretty sure out of memory it's 110 feet.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The right-of-way is 100 feet wide all the way through Jackson Street, and it'd be probably from the outer edges of the sidewalks on each side of the street to the center of the
So does that mean we would not be able to allow any signs of any type all the way up and down Jackson through that right-of-way?
That's correct. That's what this says.
How many signs do we have now that are already in that right-of-way?
Not very many, I don't think, but we could just do a survey of that. I don't know.
We have a lot.
I mean, all the businesses along that road have signs, don't they?
Within 100 feet, I can't imagine we don't have a lot of signs.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're
it's
going to,
50 feet on each side of the right-of-way.
well, 50 feet's still a long way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business signs, I think, within that distance.
So,
Does the state, I mean, that's a state law. What's the state's policy on enforcing that?
these, are you talking about temporary signs or?
No, I mean, I think you said, and I think I looked it up, that state law says no signs in the state highway right-of-ways.
Correct. You cannot install your own personal infrastructure in state-owned land, correct?
So do we or do we not have a lot of that up and down Jackson now? I'm confused because it seems to me we've surely got signs within that distance. I just think about driving down the street.
The state does not own the right-of-way, the city does.
Okay.
Jackson Street all the way through is a city right-of-way. The state maintains it, and we have a contract with them for that. But
Okay.
it's a city right-of-way. Also Wilson Avenue.
Thank you. That helps. So I just think, first of all, before we pass this ordinance, we'd have to see if we're impacting existing signage. Because,
The existing signs would be grandfathered in.
okay.
Existing permanent signs.
Existing permanent signs.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have any permanent signs in the right-of-way.
Well, I suspect we do.
So the permanent signs require a site plan to be constructed. At that point, unless staff failed in its duties to find out that and see that the site plan was shown, a sign was being shown to be in the right-of-way, if a site plan entered our office today that proposed a sign in the right-of-way,
Understand.
it would be denied.
Okay. So there's the grandfathered part there.
Correct.
So no signs anywhere else in the right of way of the city. I don't think our only option is all or nothing, because first of all, we've been operating this way for a very long time. I think most of the communities around us have been operating this way for a very long time. Have we, to me, it becomes a trade-off. Could somebody put a sign we don't like? Yes, right? Is that tolerable to have the signs that we do want to allow? In my opinion, I think they could be. I don't like seeing the mattress sale signs up every 6 feet anymore than anybody, but I also don't want to impact our existing businesses unfairly. Then the other question is, for the larger signs, could we not, let me ask this question. So would this would prohibit them from even putting directional signs along the right-of-ways through neighborhoods and such, correct?
If it's on private property, they can put the sign there without restriction. This is simply city-owned
Even
right.
right up against the road?
As long as that is private property, yes. The proximity to the road does not matter. What matters is who owns the property. If it's owned by the city, we can't.
So this is only city right-of-way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't understand that let me look at the the summary there.
This is only in the public right-of-way. So you can put, in your yard, you could put a sign for an auction or whatever, temporary sign that is permitted. This is just in specifically city-owned right-of-ways.
What's the typical right-of-way, non-state highways?
50 feet.
50 feet?
There are some areas in the city that have 100-foot right-of-ways, but the predominant right-of-way that you'll see will be 50 feet.
See, it's not clear to me how much some of the directional signage, even on, do we have a lot of city right-of-ways down some of our connecting roads and thoroughfares?
So
Anywhere you see a sidewalk, there's probably a right-of-way.
correct. Typical right-of-way width, and I might defer to engineering for this one. I believe our road profiles are 2 11-foot travel lanes, and then there is 14 feet of soft shoulder or constructed curb and grass and drainage trench. And typically, the right-of-way will terminate at the backside of that drainage trench. So if you're driving down one of our roads, it has a soft shoulder, does not have a constructed curb, from edge of pavement or from center line of road to the backside of that drainage ditch, that is the city's right-of-way. If you're talking about unpaved right-of-way, that generally goes from edge of pavement to the other side of the drainage.
So, for example, if I was driving down Kings Lane, everything across the ditch would be public right-of-way and would not allow a sign in this case?
Correct, because that is property that the city owns and maintains and regulates.
Okay, so that's a lot of road frontage in the city. It's hard for me to imagine how directional signage can be done. I guess then you're having to go ask people to put it in their yards.
Correct.
That'd be the plan. So we're going to create a lot more work for the realtors, and we're still not probably going to stop up the illegal sign putters, because they're going to do it anyway. And then when they put up one of these signs in someone's yard, are they going to have to pay a $50 fee, and are we paying that fee now?
For temporary signs, there's a fee for temporary signs, yes.
What's our current fee for temporary signs?
30.
30. Okay, so we're increasing fees on temporary signs. I'm opposed to that as well.
So you're paying fees for all of your auction signs, and
What about just your directional signs at an open house?
Yeah.
But you're saying we should do that?
Nobody else does it. No other day.
I didn't think so. So, I mean, I'm all for some of the things in this sign ordinance, but I don't see imposing even more cost to getting a house sold than it's already hard enough to do now. So I think we need to rework some of that.
So again, I will just advise, if we prohibit or allow a certain sign because of the content of its face,
I understand that.
we have to open the door to everybody.
I understand that. So my question is, how has that been a problem?
Yes.
In what way?
We are unable to enforce our sign ordinance for temporary signs because certain signs are permitted, certain signs are prohibited. So we've just had to be completely hands-off, and we don't clean up our right-of-ways of old signs.
I mean, I understand that part, that we have signs in the right of way that we don't like. My question is, are we willing to put up with that to save the real estate agents being able to get signs up and maybe a few other things?
Personally,
that's the question for the board member and alderman, to be honest, but yeah. And I appreciate your recommendation. I'm not picking on you. I'm just trying to clarify.
And this isn't my personal opinion. If you want my personal opinion, I can give that. This is just, I have been approached by many groups and members in the community, multiple aldermen, multiple commissioners who all have voiced the same concerns. And I have, asked these groups and been approached by many of these groups, and these are the issues that were identified to me for requested changes.
I mean, I hear a lot about the big ugly signs flapping in the breeze. I mean, I think that one's, but I don't think people are complaining about directional signs in the neighborhoods. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I have a question. Is there any way that we can change the way that it's worded to say that, like if you have businesses that have business permits in the city to operate, that they could be allowed, that other, is
That's what we've done in the past once, actually, but
I mean, if you have a business in town that could put it out, now you can still get the mattress signs, but can you differentiate and be in the law that you have a business in the city, then you're allowed to put signs out, but if you don't, personal people can't put yard signs out in the right of way, things like that, then that's not based on content, that's based on, Operation City, and they already pay to have a building, business permit in the city, right? You have to pay that. Is that possible to differentiate that way and not be based on content?
The difficulty with that comes from putting the requirement on our code compliance officer to first identify who owns the sign, and then pull their business license to see if they're registered in the city of Tullahoma, and then somehow be able to track which signs belong to which businesses and are put up at which time.
Is my understanding is realtors are required to have their realtor number on their signs now. Is that not correct? Correct. So we already got that covered with the realtors.
Mm-hmm. And if other businesses,
that may be a different legal
if
question,
other businesses want to do the same thing, then they would have to do something like that as well as, and that would take the burden off a little bit. But it seems to me like just saying we can't do it based on content. I understand that that's a freedom of speech, but there ought to be another way around this to do link it to our businesses that we want to support here in town, and not just be a blanket. No, we can't do it. That's just a comment I have.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I do think this is a lot of the realtor's business. It is not a permissible way to say that we can offer in our permitting things to say that we can have local businesses can have an annual permit fee, and they're allowed to put stuff in the right of way, and that will, not judging based on content, just making them file a request with the city and pay a fee to actually have that there, to allow us to differentiate between the what's the name of the types of sign, the snipe signs and stuff like that, and legitimate business signs. That makes sense.
I think it could. I think we need to work on it a little more. And the other question, I guess, is how much money are we spending on, how much time and effort and money are we spending on enforcement now on signs? But how much maybe we should be? Maybe we haven't funded that enough. I don't know.
Currently, we have no time being spent because we can't enforce it.
Yeah. But I mean, we've got other things that are being enforced, correct? I mean, you stated for a moment ago that for example, the flapping man signs are already currently illegal?
Yes, but getting those removed is difficult because of the way our ordinance is worded. Also, the punishment for a non-compliant sign is when you do eventually come in and get a permit fee, it's $60 instead of $30. But if you just don't come in and get a permit, then you never get punished. And there's no recourse.
So what are we changing in here to address that problem? Because if we don't change that, no matter what you do here, it won't matter.
We allow our code compliance officer the ability to remove non-compliant signs. And
is that the addition here?
Correct. That's one of the additions. Those signs would be held at we have a dog pen outside of the Public Works of the Codes building. Those temporary signs would be held. The applicant, or not the applicant, but the owner of the sign would be able to come and retrieve the sign for a fee. If that sign is not retrieved in a set amount of time, it is deemed to be abandoned and will be recycled.
Okay. I don't see that listed in the background. I don't see it listed in the background summary. I think that's one that needs to be included in the background summary, if you're going to send it to the BMA.
But that's only for signs that are permitted and allowed in non-right-of-way areas, right, according to the way we have it written now. So any sign in the right-of-way would be taken up if this ordinance was approved.
Could be.
All right, so do we want to prepare maybe a list of things to address, and we can pick this up next meeting, like if we want to do something like that, make a motion to address our concerns here for Mr. Luthi and come back at the next meeting? How do we move forward from here?
I think it would be good if with our discussion we've had tonight, if the board of mayor and alderman would get together and discuss, because they're the ones that are going to approve it in the end.
Tell you what,
for you guys to think about how you guys want the city to be operated with, and then that would feed back into Sam, Because we're pretty much just the approval authority or the recommendation.
Well, your recommendation, and that matters.
I mean,
we
so
need a
the
recommendation.
the process is as such, is that's why we have Ms. McGee and Mr. Seaborn on the board, is that they are to bring the mayor of Alderman, the board's recommendations to us to address.
Yeah.
You know, we can have a study session and make that happen, but I think maybe a more appropriate route would be to make a motion to, or make a recommendation to Mr. Luthi and table this until we get some edits that we think are appropriate here.
Yeah, I think we make a list
Give us options.
of things to propose and bring it back next meeting.
Yeah. And Mr. Luthi, we can get it on a planning commission. We're going to be having more planning sessions for the BMA as well, and we can put it on one of those and have a general discussion there as well and get some feedback for you from the aldermen, see what everybody thinks. Because I know I have heard some aldermen complain about some of the signage stuff in town. I'd like to have a little more clarity on that myself from them. So
yeah, I mean, I'm actually really good with this, except for I realize and I sympathize with the realtors. So, I mean, other than that, I can't think of another reason not to. But
I don't know how this would affect our political signage that goes up.
they're already not supposed to be in the right of ways, and they do get collected. So there has been some enforcement on that in the past, because I've had to go collect some of mine that some of my supporters stick one somewhere without asking me. So.
You know, it wasn't a supporter, it was an opponent that was trying to get you in trouble.
That's probably how
I
it
don't
gets
think so,
reported.
but that does happen occasionally.
It does happen.
All right. So,
People get excited.
I will entertain a motion to do something.
I make a motion to table this.
Okay.
Further discussion.
Okay, and when is further discussion?
Well, we need to set up a meeting to have a study session on it, I guess.
Motion to table until we, and hold a study session in the month of August or month of September before the next meeting?
September, probably not in the month of August, we're already halfway through.
Well, I just said before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So say something and let's go.
It could be the end of August, maybe.
All right. We got a motion from Mr. Sellers to do what?
To table the issue, table this item until we have a study session, and as soon as possible in like end of August or early September, along with input from the board mayor and alderman.
All right.
Second.
Second from Mr. Klein. Excellent. All right. Discussion on that motion. Let's request staff address. I mean, I think you have I think you have an understanding about what we want to do, but let's ask staff to address the concerns that was brought up today in those meetings, particularly being realtor signs and the fee inconsistencies and stuff like that. I will let the board chime in on that to be more clear. Or did I get it?
I'm sorry. I'm distracted. Apologize.
So I would like to, on the discussion of our motion here, I would like to make a recommendation to staff to address these points being.
I would say is, you know, how can we preserve real estate signage and relook at the fees on temporary signs?
All right. Any other?
And then if there's a way that we can be within the law to differentiate, you know, not content, but some other methodology, be using business licenses or whatever. See if there's an option there.
Probably do a suggestion of putting your business license on your sign. That way, you know, it's
Something
fairly
like that.
transparent.
Just something that allows us to have a differentiation that we can't do based on content.
Okay. All right. Mr. Luthi, in developing this, did you review other cities similar to us and understand what's going on? This seems to be consistent with the state of Tennessee, or do we go farther than that?
Yes, this is of the cities that I have worked with and for. Most, if not all of them, do not permit any temporary signage in the right-of-way. This is very common with almost all municipalities.
I disagree with that. Now, maybe I'm wrong.
Let Mr. Luthi finish.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I looked at specifically Brentwood, Brentwood, Nolensville, excuse me, Columbia is another one I looked at. Columbia, Brentwood, Nolensville, Franklin, all of those municipalities prohibit signs in the right-of-way. When I was in Nolensville, we brought on a new sign ordinance that was even, I would say, exponentially more strict than this one. So this is not abnormal. This is what most municipalities are moving towards with the prohibition of signs, and especially, our sign ordinance is a lot more forgiving than most sign ordinances that you will see, especially in more developed and in more growing cities. You'll see even stricter sign ordinances. Like, for example, in Nolensville, we required a full planning commission design review of all signs, of what they're going to have, and then it's quite expansive in the regulation of those signs. This one is not on that level, but it is moving us in the direction that a lot of municipalities have already gone.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stevens, you're recognized.
There's several hundred cities in the state of Tennessee, and we just give an example of 5 of them. They're all larger, higher end communities, so to speak. I did a quick search this afternoon, and I found a little spreadsheet that was like showing different cities and what they required, and there were numerous ones of those cities that did allow directional signs, did allow so many directional signs, so many signs for auctions, and those were cities in the state of Tennessee. I don't think it's fair to say that most cities in the state of Tennessee don't allow right-of-way signs, because I see them everywhere I go. And maybe I'm incorrect about that. I'm open to correction on that, but I just think we got to look a little harder at that.
Can you look at cities that are closer to us, like Winchester, Manchester, Shelbyville, Fayetteville, places, Pulaski, Lewisburg, or, just to see that they're.
And then there's whether they're enforcing their ordinances was the second question, right?
That was going to be my comment. Is people in Nolensville and things like that, are they have that? What's the enforcement like?
100%.
Yeah.
So they go and nab up all the
signs. If there's no signs, it's easy to just go pick them right up.
I'm not kidding when I say that at Nolensville, Monty Kapovic, the building and codes inspector, would go out every single day for 2 hours a day and collect all signs, and would sweep pretty much the vast majority of the city. He would go out and collect every single sign that was non-compliant. We had a very large Cajun area by the dumpster that was constantly full of non-compliant signs, and those would be removed daily.
Thank you. All right. With that, I think we're directing staff to.
I think we have a comment. Can we have a citizen has a comment?
The public hearing is closed, so we're
okay,
yeah. There'll be other opportunity.
Okay,
Let's direct staff to investigate, based on our discussion here, specifically how we can handle real estate signs and be more and also our temporary sign fees. With that, we do have a motion to table this and to have a study session. I will call a vote on the study session. All in favor of tabling this until we hold a study session on this and bring it back up at the hopefully September agenda. Aye. Aye. Opposed? And abstained. All right, that motion passes. With that, this is tabled, and it will be moved to old business, and we will have a study session. And Mr. Luthi, you can please reach out to us, and I encourage the commission to be flexible on what we can do for a study session, but let's try to do it sooner than later. Thank you. All right, moving on. Item number 9, text amendments. D, text amendments, zoning ordinance amendment. A request for the Planning Commission recommendation regarding amending the zoning ordinance to add and define specialty shops as a use. This is a city sponsored by the city, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Luthi for a staff report as the applicant. Mr. Luthi, you're recognized.
Yeah. This update is part of a joint effort between the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. There is a accompanying amendment to the municipal code that will be going to the to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. That amendment to the municipal code will be to regulate specialty shops, those being more colloquially known as vape shops, smoke shops, head shops. They're all over. As it currently stands, we don't have them as a defined use, so they fall under the light retail umbrella and have virtually no regulation. They can go anywhere in the C1 or C2 or C3 zone. They are allowed to operate within any proximity to any other sort of areas. As far as our zoning ordinance is concerned, it kind of gives them free rein. What this is looking to do is adding a definition for specialty shops to the zoning ordinance, so that we have a way to define those specific types of uses, and then it will also put them in as a conditional use under the C2 zone, so they still have an area to be permitted. This is going in conjunction with the change in the municipal code that will regulate specialty shops or vape shops or smoke shops, much like we currently regulate liquor stores, where there will be a set number of stores that will be permitted in the city. They have to be regulated within a certain proximity to other certain things like churches and schools and public parks and stuff like that. That's going to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. That's the amendment to our municipal code. The segment that you're looking at today is just defining a vape shop or specialty shop, and then adding it in as a permitted use under C2 with conditional approval.
All right, thank you. All right, these are public hearings, so I would invite the public to come forward and speak on this zoning ordinance amendment this time. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to a motion.
I'll make a motion to, what are we doing here? Make a
favorable recommendation.
Yeah. Or is it a favorable recommendation for a zoning change? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for this zoning.
Maybe I shouldn't make a recommendation to myself, so.
I'll make a motion. I'll send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Sellers and Rice, then?
Yeah. I wanted to make a couple comments, if I may.
Second from Mr.
Yeah. So I guess it was last Monday night. We had a gentleman, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Do you remember the gentleman's name that came and spoke to us? So I can't remember. There was a gentleman that came at the invitation of Chief Sons, and what was it? Hickson. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right there. I forgot. Yeah. So Zach Hickson. Well, you want to say just a few words? Do you mind? Can we have the chief say just a few? I wanted to just. That's okay. I'll just.
I think that's appropriate. I mean, he's not.
Yeah. Could you just explain to the board what we heard in terms of what's actually being sold in these shops versus what they advertise?
So what's going on in some of these shops, they are allowed to sell THC products, but the legal limit is 0.3%. What we're finding is it's a highly unregulated commodity that's going on. Some of these are testing in at like 99.9% THC levels. And it was under agriculture at first, but ABC's taken it over. But during that process, if we go into new stings and test it, they're testing way higher. So we're actually seeing overdoses and stuff like that you would never see prior in the past to THC. We're also finding that these are getting in the hands of a lot of school children as young as the grade level 3, so 3 to high school, and they're all over the place. And there's no real enforcement on these things right now, and pretty much anybody can get them. So that's why we're trying to put a regulation on it.
Right.
Do you have any questions?
If we put this regulation in, those places would become under this regulation, where they can't sell below to people less than some age or things like that.
Well, they can't sell to anybody under 21 currently. Okay. However, it still happens.
It's still happening.
Somebody's older brother will buy it or whatever. But the problem is like I said, THC 0.3% is legal. All of these, you can get a product here, same package. You can get two of the same products from the same store. And we did a slideshow the other day. One of them tested at 68%. The other tested at like 73, if you were at that meeting. So that's what that's for.
So the thinking is, first of all, and as I understand it, that the state passed a law to get them out of all the convenience stores. So the specialist shop, if we regulated them, we could at least limit the number of the stores, and then then it would be easier to monitor those than it is right now, where it's Wild West and just people have everything everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's State Bill 0763. If you want to study that, it'll tell you the new law is going into effect, which may affect your decisions.
Yeah.
As well. Anyway.
What about grandfather laws? I mean, when we add ordinances, people are grandfathered in. Is that different for this type thing?
So, as far as grandfathering, that is the colloquial term. The correct, and the way our ordinance discusses it is legal nonconformity. you're able to receive legal nonconformity for a use if that use then becomes prohibited. However, we are defining a new use and assigning it to these existing uses. Under the current state law and the way legal nonconformity works, there is no grandfathering in that would be permitted. These uses would be assigned as specialty shops as they're currently operating as a convenience store or a light commercial, which is not appropriate. And this is more for the side that goes to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for how they're going to handle the change to the municipal code. So as far as we are concerned is for the zoning ordinance, adding this in and then defining that use and then changing those businesses to that new added use really won't do anything on its own. It will allow you to regulate them in the future and to know what you're approving when you do get a site plan or a proposed business coming through, instead of them just telling you, well, it's a convenience store, and then it turns out to be a smoke shop. They would have to define what they actually are. It will inform the commission better. But what this also allows is it allows the segment that's going to be added to the municipal code to actually enforce and regulate these businesses, because as it stands, there's 3 or 4 different defined uses that they can operate under, and that is a much too wide of a net to try to cast. So by defining these specifically and narrowing it down, it allows us to regulate them effectively.
Sounds good. I think we may be done. I mean, you didn't tell me anything I didn't already. I'm not surprised. Let me put it that way. Thank you.
I think some of us were surprised by the amounts.
All right. All right. We have a motion on the table. Do we have any more other discussion, or are we okay with the wording here? Or is kind of?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
All right. Well, hearing that, then let's call a vote to send a recommendation for this text to go to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And abstained? All right. That motion passes 6-0. With that, we are adjourned from the Planning Commission regular agenda. So we are closed from there, and we will open the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting agenda. Call to order the Planning Commission. So I'll call this meeting to order. Read and approve the minutes from the July 21st Board of Zoning Appeal meeting. I will entertain a motion for the minutes as written.
Motion approved.
Minutes from Mr. Sellers. Let me find some more paper. And a second.
Second.
I'm sorry. Mr. Klein.
We'll give it to Mr. Klein. All right. All in favor of the minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained. You'll abstain. Okay, we got one abstain. Mr. Rice is abstaining. So that's 5-0-1 with Rice abstaining because he was absent. And we'll move to the approval of the agenda. All in favor of the agenda as written? Oh, I'm sorry. I need a motion.
Move for approval of the agenda.
All right. Approval agenda from Mayor Seaborn, and second from Ms. McGee. All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Agenda is approved 6-0. There is no old business, but we do have new business today. A variance request for public hearing. Car wash determination. A request made by the applicant for the Board of Zoning Appeals to make a determination that car washes are included in light automotive repair. And the applicant, who is the applicant here? Mr. Luthia, I'm sorry, I don't have
Gonzalez.
this. Can I have a packet?
It's not in here. It's just
Daniel
the minutes.
Gonzalez is the applicant.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Mr. Luthia, for staff report.
I would like to say the applicant submitted this request for an address on Lincoln Street. I believe that address has gone to a different business, so I don't know if the applicant still wanted this item heard. I haven't heard from the applicant since receiving this request, but I legally can't not bring it to the board once the application has been made and the fee has been paid for. So this is still brought before you. Whether or not this solves the issue for this current applicant is one discussion. However, this will solve an issue that the city faces as a whole by your determination today. As you know, we have multiple standalone car washes. We do not have car washes defined as a use in our zoning ordinance. It is discussed that a self-dispensing fuel facility may have a car wash, but it does not discuss car washes as their own use. That being said, it does discuss light automotive repair, which includes things like tire shops, Valvoline or Jiffy Lube and those types of places, pull-in brake repair. It is of my opinion that light automotive repair would also be similar in impact and traffic flow to like a car wash, to somewhere like a fast repair or a quick lube joint. That being said, rather than do like we just did and try to add car washes in and then assign them all, I believe it would be easier to just make it an actual recorded statement that car washes fall under light automotive repair. I believe in the past it has been roughly interpreted that way, and they've been allowed to go in as light automotive repair. However, it's not been specifically defined. So I would just like to seek the opinion of the Board of Zoning Appeals on whether or not you are of the opinion that car washes should or should not fall under the umbrella of light automotive repair.
Is there a category for, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Should this be under the Board of Zoning Appeals, or should this be something making an amendment to our regulations?
So specifically what the applicant was requesting, it would have fallen under the Board of Zoning Appeals. If you would like to make an amendment to the ordinance, that can be done. However, that's not what the applicant was asking for. They were just asking for a determination to be made. Once that determination is made, this would be followed up by an amendment to the zoning ordinance. But for what the applicant was asking for now, that would have taken a lot longer.
So I've been through this in the past with this, it's not listed. It's not possible to list everything. So I mean, yeah, maybe it ought to be added, but I guess but the question I was going to ask is this is a car service, does that not fall under service stations?
So the difficulty that I have is that if car washes were not named at all, I would agree. However, they are named as accessory uses to fuel stations.
Yeah.
And that's where I have difficulty.
I just think in terms of what it is, it's a service for your vehicle. It's not a repair.
All right. So before we get too underway here, let's follow our process.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Luthi, anything else in the staff report? I mean, I realized that we should have recognized the applicant, and he is not here to speak. So we should have had we need a public hearing. We have no one in the audience unless Mr. Orr would like to speak on this. So I'm going to say that the public hearing is closed. And the staff report we just had, and let's have a motion for this, and then we can discuss and we can do what we want to do from there. So,
motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Rice and Seaborn for the motion.
Since I was talking so much.
All right. Discussion. Mr. Rice, if you can go first, and then we'll let Mr. Seaborn go if there's any more discussion. But I think we might be beating a dead horse at this point.
For the most part, discussed.
Yeah, I do too. I don't have anything else to say.
Are all the existing car washes in the same zone right now? Are they all C1 or 2?
I believe they are in C2 currently, which is where this light automotive repair exists. And then briefly, we do have service stations. However, it is service station motor fuel dispensing facility, which requires them to have fuel dispensing facilities to be deemed a service station, unfortunately, which is part of where this issue has come up, is that, you know, traditionally, a lot of car washes were part of a gas station. We are seeing now it is much more common to have standalone car washes. We have quite a few in the city, and so I feel like this is something where when the ordinance was...
What about the old Bay car washes? They've been around forever.
True.
So...
Right. Service stations, motor fuel facilities, this might be a little bit out of scope, but I mean, is fuel like, they allow electric vehicle charging and stuff like that too?
Do we want to allow it to go under this, or do we want to make a separate line? Since it's become such a larger, business, more common business than it used to be, do we need to make,
So
go ahead and make
I guess
it
my
different?
thought is, do we think this gentleman's going, how long ago since he brought this?
This was about a month ago.
So he hasn't come back since or asked you anything since? I mean, if I thought he was waiting on it, I'd say, let's go ahead and approve this one, but if he's not,
He's
I'd
not
just
here.
put it in the ordinance. I mean,
Why does he need this approved?
Because there is a building located at 800 East Lincoln that the applicant was wanting to rent to have a car detailing / car wash business in that building. The reason why it was brought to you this way instead of trying to go through the text amendment route was simply to respect the applicant's time frame and to try and give a solution to him now. Because when he asked, and it made sense with, well, why are there so many other car washes, but I can't have mine? I tried to find the quickest way to provide a resolution, and then we could work on the back end on amending our zoning ordinance to solve the problem for future applicants. But like I said, after the one conversation, I have not heard from the applicant since. We've seen business license go through for the address he was discussing for a different individual doing a completely different business with it. So I don't know if this applicant is still looking at opening up the car detailing and car wash business at that address. But again, I don't get to choose which applications do and do not come before the board. I received an application and payment, so that has to be presented today.
All right.
Are we hurt by passing the variance?
No, I think we're just passing. Go.
Pass it. Go on,
that's
and
exactly
then we
what I
can
was
look at
gonna
it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Change the ordinance, okay.
All right. Yeah, let's work on changing the ordinance and identifying that. I mean, I definitely do agree that that like a detailing shop or something like that would fall under light automotive repair more than an automated car wash. But yes, so anyway, I'll call the vote on this. All in favor of this variance request for car wash determination? We're making this determination. We're the board. We have the authority here. So all in favor of the approval of this request? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. That motion passes 6-0, and we will fix the back end maybe next meeting. All right. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, and we will see you next month.
My name is J.T. Northcutt. I have sickle cell anemia trait, and several members of my family have sickle cell anemia disease. People with sickle cell disease have sickle cell-shaped blood cells, which cause less oxygen to flow through their body. This can make people tired and experience painful symptoms. Blood transfusions are critical. They may struggle